Okay, once again, we're going to axe-prove a firearm for the Canadian Firearm Safety Course. I've done a pump-action firearm. Next, I'm going to do a semi-automatic firearm. They're both shotguns. The pump-action firearm. So when I picked it up, I'm looking in the barrel and I'm looking in the magazine, and I do the exact same with the semi-automatic shotgun. I look in the action, I look in the barrel, I look in the magazine. These two firearms are very similar. The pump action works by, there's a release button here to move the pump, works by a pump mechanism. The semi-automatic firearm, which I look in the chamber and in the action in the magazine for cartridges as I pick it up, works very similarly. It has a pump mechanism underneath this front stock, but it is hidden by the front stock. There's a small hole in the barrel, and that cycles the gun for you, making it semi-automatic. Semi-automatic meaning every pull of the trigger, it shoots a bullet and automatically cycles the firearm for you. Okay, so there are no cartridges in the gun. So I'm going to grab the gun with my strong hand. I've turned myself perpendicular to the firing line. Push the gun against my belly so that it's not easy for the barrel to point at another human. I'm going to check the barrel and axe-prove the gun. So I slide the rod down, a tight-fitting rod. There's no cartridges. There's no June bugs hiding. There's no wads. There's nothing in the barrel. The barrel's perfectly clean. So now I'm going to load the firearm. Now, in order to load a firearm, what I have always found, if it's a magazine-fed gun, is to follow two protocols. Number one, if it is at all possible to put the safety on before you load the firearm. Put the safety on, just makes sense. This particular firearm has a slide or tang safety. You can clearly see that if you push it forward, you see red. If you pull it back towards the butt of the gun, you can't see red. Push it forward, you see red. Red means dead. The firearm will shoot. Typically, on almost all guns, except for some European guns, if you slide a slide or tang safety toward the target, it will shoot. If you pull it back towards you, it will not shoot. So I put the safety on, I pulled it towards the butt of the gun. Next is to shut the action. If at all possible to shut the action before you load a gun, shut the action. To do that with this semi-automatic, press a button on the side. Some semi-automatic shotguns have the button here on the bottom. So the safety is on, the action is shut, the gun was axe-proved. I look on the barrel. This is a North American made gun. It says it is a 12 gauge, 2 3/4 gauge shotgun. So we'll take 2 3/4 12 gauge shells. These are 2 3/4 12 gauge shells, clearly says so. You put them on the bottom, on the feed ramp on the bottom of the gun, you push them forward. And watch your finger when you take it out, because this feed ramp will sometimes grab your fingernail if you're not careful. So keep your finger tight against the feed ramp so that after you push the round in, it doesn't grab your finger. Lift it out like this. Take the next round, slide it up into the tubular magazine underneath the forestock. Now we're going to chamber around. To do that, you pull this handle, you pull the bolt all the way back and let it fly forward of its own accord. You will see the round will pop into the action. Let it fly forward of its own accord. Now, if we were hunting, we could go out and we could use the firearm. Safety's on, the round is chambered. At the end of the day, when I'm done with the firearm, or I'm at the range and I'm done with the firearm, I have to empty it. How you empty the firearm is pretty simple. You pull this lever backwards. Most semi-automatic shotguns, this cocking lever will lock back, allowing you to easily see inside of the firearm. There's no cartridges in the action, there's no cartridges in the magazine, there's no cartridges in the barrel. After that's checked, I'm going to axe-prove the gun. So I hold the gun, again, tight with my hand against my belly, run a rod down the barrel, there's nothing in the barrel. If I was out hunting or didn't have access to a rod, I might use a typical pull-through. That's how you axe-prove a gun. If I were at a range, I would lay it down on the table and I would step back 1 meter behind the firing line. If there's a ceasefire line, behind that ceasefire line. And that's it. That's the semi-automatic shotgun.